Hello and welcome back to another video. My name is Harris Bard for Pond Life Aquatics and Tropical Fish London. And in today's video, I am going to be showing you some of the relatively rare and wonderful new species that we have in at Pond Life Aquatics this week. Let's get into it. So for those of you who are new here, we are Pond Life Aquatics and Tropical Fish London, and we do things a little bit differently. We structure our fish room continent by continent, and we do this so that we can help educate people on exactly where the fish they are buying from are from in the world. We find this helps people make decisions on what type of fish they want to keep, and it's particularly useful for people who want to set up biomes or biotopes in their home aquariums. So without further ado, let's talk through some of the new things we have in stock this week. So I'm going to try something a little bit different this week, where I'm just going to quickly run through everything that we keep section by section, but then I'm going to focus in on, honestly, one of the most exciting fish that we've had in a very long time, and I'm probably going to talk about them for a while. But first, I'll go through everything, and then I'll come back to them later. In our first section of the aquarium, we have our South American species. Here, you'll find everything that you would expect from South America. We have our live bearers section, where we have things like swordtails, platies, guppies, endler guppies. And then we also have our tetras that range from lemon tetra, rabooni tetra, neons, cardinals, embers, all of those wonderful different species of tetra that can be kept in community tanks from South America. We also have a wide range of Corydoras catfish, which are just absolutely brilliant little bottom feeders that come in over 150 different varieties. And everything that we keep here at Pond Life Aquatics and Tropical Fish London is tank bred. This week, in terms of new things, we got in some absolutely beautiful little Pygmy Corydoras that have come out of our quarantine space and are doing extraordinarily well. And we've got some absolutely beautiful Ancistrus. Not just the white Ancistrus and speckled Ancistrus that we've had in previous weeks, we've got these absolutely stunning Mega Clown Ancistrus that have just really settled in nicely in the Similis Corydoras tank. We additionally got some L052 Plecos, which are, I believe, Zebra Angel Plecos, but they've absolutely just gone into hiding. I got a single shot of them in the bag when they came in, and they've just hid under the wood as soon as we put them into the tank, but that's a good sign that they're settling in nicely. Just as I've said that, I have spotted them in this stir-by tank behind me, and they are just absolutely stunning fish. Usually I would be a bit more concise with describing what they look like, but they are just absolutely beautiful. Zebra Angel Pleco is 100% the way I would describe these fish. They are just beautiful. Oh, I'm chuffed with them. I was worried they wouldn't color up nearly as much as they have, and they are just stunning. They're just still sat there behind me. So sorry for gushing. I just get very excited about new fish, particularly when they're as nice as these guys are. Definitely worth checking out. Again, just a slight correction. They're not butterfly zebras, they are just butterflies, but I think you can forgive me for thinking they are a butterfly zebra, but some people call them clowns because they are just beautiful. They have these beautiful zebra crosses on them, and yeah, they're stunning. I think you can forgive me for thinking they'd be butterfly zebras because they definitely look like it to me. Again, like most Ancistrus, they're going to enjoy soft acidic waters, great in community tanks. You're definitely going to need a bit more of a bigger tank for them, but they are just, yeah, stunning. Sorry, I keep gushing, I'll carry on. And then in the tanks behind me, we obviously have our hard water bred discus, which are just some of the most beautiful fish we've ever had in. I would talk about them for hours and hours, but I literally did talk far too long about them in the last video. But in terms of new things in this section, sometimes you see a fish on a list and you aren't sure they're going to live up to the name. These guys are called Blue Avatar Angelfish, and we only got 2 of them in. We got requested blue angels and the gentleman didn't want to put down a deposit. So obviously we didn't want to risk getting a fish and then be stuck with something that isn't up to the title, but I can absolutely see why these guys are called Blue Avatar Angels. They look like Na'vi from the movie Avatar. They've got these amazing blue colorations with black stripes across them. Stunning, absolutely stunning fish. If the gentleman doesn't want them because he was looking for more large angels, I have no doubt that they will sell particularly well. I think they came into us, they're about £15, so definitely not too steep for such a stunning angelfish. Now, down in Asia, I am going to be a little bit more secretive with the camera angles today because, as you know, if you watched the last video, if you do watch these videos regularly and you aren't subscribed, then please consider subscribing to the channel. And if you're new here, then please drop us a subscription as well. It really helps us grow. And if, like, later on you enjoy the more educational things that I do in these videos where I talk about different species and how to keep them, then share this to someone else who loves watching fish videos, because I really love making videos like this and it helps us carry on doing it. It carries on helping the fish room grow, like we are doing behind you, which is going to be a mini series that I am creating on the YouTube channel where we are going to be upgrading our Siamese fighting fish range. But in the rest of Asia, we have, when it comes to fighting fish, some absolutely stunning female bettas. We have split these guys into 2 tanks. We have some in the quarantine space, which I have some footage of, and also we've got a tank full of them in the main fish house, and these guys are absolutely beautiful. Again, I talk about them every single week because I genuinely do think they are some of the most stunning fish I've ever seen, and I think you could be forgiven for looking at a lot of the females that are being bred on the market today and thinking they are male black cats. They are just absolutely beautiful. And if you would like a species spotlight, particularly on female bettas, because I have done a species spotlight on male bettas, which I can leave a link for in the description, I will more than happily do so. But in the rest of Asia, we have some absolutely beautiful torpedo barbs as usual, some green rasbora. We got in terms of new things, got in some absolutely stunning Zebra Danios alongside their golden counterparts, and we also got some white cloud mountain minnows and some golden white cloud mountain minnows. So we are really well stocked in terms of temperate fish. Just before anyone asks, yes, our fish did relatively well in the heat. I will be releasing a video next week on how to help mitigate all of the issues that can occur when overheating, particularly in summer months, can occur for your fish. And that will be out hopefully on Wednesday. I've done the rough edit for it and it's about a 35-minute video. So look out for that. The things that I'm really excited for in terms of newness in Asia are 2 things sat in this tank and in the tank below them. The first ones are Pentazoa Barbs, and these guys are usually stocked in the barb tank down the end of the store. However, we found the tank up there was getting uncharacteristically warm, and thankfully we didn't have any fatalities, mainly due to the amount of oxygen we have in that tank, but it is also relatively well stocked. And Pentazoas, as I've talked about previously, are much shyer than your regular barbs. Pentazoa barbs are a more diminutive species than you usually get. They are more akin to something like a cherry barb in terms of size. I would say they're even smaller than a cherry, particularly when cherries get fully grown. They'll usually get about 5 centimeters long at their full growth. And they are a sociable species. They will do best when they are kept in about groups of 6, and they will prefer to be in a heavily vegetated aquarium. Barbs are quite boisterous and can sometimes be a little bit bullyish, whereas Pentazoas are a much more calm species of barb. They can be a little bit skittish. They prefer to have these densely vegetated aquariums. They can even be found in black water. I know that Alex Bell in particular keeps them in black water aquaria, and they seem to do extraordinarily well. So when I knew these guys were coming in, I loaded up the tank with some Agrarian Najas, and again, something that's going to be part of the ongoing series, I'm going to be experimenting with planting in our aquariums. So do keep an eye on that. These guys have seemed to settle down really beautifully. I love Pentazoa barbs. They are definitely one of the species of barb I would consider keeping if you like the look of barbs but only have a smaller aquarium. Realistically, you need about 50 litres to keep 6 of them together. Males will show these bright red colorations, black striping and a little hint of green, whereas the females are a little bit more dull in coloration. But they are relatively easy to keep. They'll readily accept loads of different foods, from flaked, granule, frozen, live. The only thing I should really say is that they should be kept with less aggressive species. We've got them in with Coolie Loach and Emerald Eye Respora, and it seems to have encouraged them out a little bit more, and they should do well in a lot of peaceful community tanks. And in the tank below them, and the reason I'm not going to be sitting on the floor is because these guys are extraordinarily skittish. We have some dwarf golden barbs. Now, these guys are very cool. They are even smaller than Pentazoa barbs when it comes to their full-grown length, only really getting 3 centimeters long at their adult size. If Pentazoas are skittish, these guys are outright cowards. Every time I've gone near them, they have just hidden themselves away. They seem to be very sensitive to movement, and it speaks to where they are from in the world. They do prefer having slightly softer water because they come from areas of dense vegetative growth, and they will do best in groups. They have these gorgeous little golden bodies with black stripes on them, and I think they are just absolutely an example of a dwarf species of fish, which if you really do love the look of things like tiger barbs and green tigers but can't fit a appropriately sized aquarium in your home, something like a 40 litre, being able to own 6 of these guys densely planted, is just going to be such a treat for anyone who enjoys that kind of aquarium. In terms of fighting fish, we still have a fair few fighters in stock. They are looking absolutely stunning. I'm particularly excited about the plaque activators we have in stock at the moment. I think they're absolutely gorgeous, but I don't want to be showing off how the rack looks right now because it does not look good. But we are going to hopefully be cycling the tanks next week. I'm so excited for, and I'm so excited to show you the ways that we're going to do it. And it's kind of sparked this process in me of trying to figure out the best way to improve our planting for our fish. I've seen a lot of things online that I'm just really excited for, and moving on. Now, one thing I can't really hide about the new building stuff that we're doing here at Pond Life is the fact that we have moved our aquascapes onto the racking next to Australia. Just proof that we're doing things, and we had to effectively drop 70% of this tank. I wasn't in the store today, but the fish have all come out and they seem to be doing fine. The scape itself has survived, which I'm very happy about, and I'm going to be doing a lot more work on these in the next couple of days where I can update some planting and just make them look prettier. But in terms of Australia, we've not got anything new in. We have everything that we usually have in. One of my favorite species of fish at the moment are pseudomoguls, whether that be luminata or Gertrudes, and these guys are doing absolutely beautifully. We have a fair amount of males and females, so if you are in the market to be breeding some pseudomoguls, we have those in stock. Our red rainbows and Bosmani rainbows are still looking absolutely beautiful, and We've sold a fair amount of peacock gudgeon, but we've had a lot of people coming in and inquiring, particularly about Australian fish. Next week, we should be restocking with a fair amount of pseudomogals and maybe a few more rainbows, but that's where we're at in Australia. And then in Africa, we only really got one new species in. We got these absolutely beautiful bamboo shrimp in stock. Bamboo shrimp are always going to be a favorite of people. I think the dichotomy in how they present themselves and how they actually behave is really just interesting to a lot of people. Having this huge armor while having absolutely no other offensive mechanisms is so interesting. They are a filter feeder, so make sure that you have a decent amount of flow in your tank if you are going to be keeping bamboo shrimp, just because it means that you're not going to run the risk of starving these guys out. In the rest of Africa, we still have our Malawi cichlids. We sold a few this week, so the tank is slowly whittling down. Then we also have our Tanganyikan species, so Lamprologus ocellatus, Lamprologus lupi oranges, and we are looking at getting a few more different Tanganyikan species in. However, a lot of Tanganyikan tanks need a lot more space, so we are going to be looking at expanding our Africa range, particularly when we build the next fish house, but that isn't going to be for a long while. And finally, at a slightly weird angle, I do just want to talk about this species of fish that I hinted at in last week's video. This is a rarer species of fish for the aquarium trade, but I do genuinely think it is going to be the next big thing when it comes to hobbyist fish keeping. These are the Everglades Pygmy sunfish, or the Elosoma evergladii. Pygmy sunfish are honestly a species of fish that have slipped under my radar for a very long time. There are a fair few species that are quite rare to find in the aquarium trade. Everglades sunfish are definitely one of the more common species that you will find in the aquarium trade, but I had personally never seen them before, and I've honestly not felt this excited about a fish in such a long time. They are a species of fish that is found in North America, hence why they are at the very end of our South American range. They came up on the list and I was so surprised to see them. My dad decided that we were going to get them in, and I decided to start doing some research on them. And even before they came in, I was just hoping they would turn up, because I just slowly began to fall in love with this species. First things first, they are literally 1 to 2 centimeters long. They are an absolutely tiny species of fish. You can keep a pair of them in about 20 liters, which is absolutely amazing. The males have these black bodies with blue spots, and both the males and females have this amazing little dorsal fin, which means instead of like pushing through the water like a lot of species, they kind of edge through the water. They're a lot more subtle in their movements. And when they first came in, and why I didn't talk about them last week, I was honestly a little bit scared that they weren't going to do too well in the tank we had put them in. Pygmy sunfish come from pH ranges of about 7 to 7.5, so very neutral pH. We have a slightly higher pH than that. Here at Pond Life Aquatics at the moment, we are sitting around 8, although that is slowly coming down because we are having changes in our waterboard. So I think they were just a little bit stressed when they first came in. I was so happy that they settled in the way they have, and I have spent literally every single evening this week when I've been in the shop just staring at these guys. The sexual dimorphism between the males and females, where the males have these amazing blacks and blues, and the females, yes, they are a little bit more gray. They don't have nearly as much coloration as the males do, but they just have so much character. And what's so interesting about pygmy sunfish is that they represent a side of the hobby that I feel like a lot of people don't participate in until they meet a fish like this. To keep pygmy sunfish, you have to have a dedicated tank for them. Yes, they can go with some very diminutive non-stressful species, so like Pygmy Corydoras would get along fine with them, even otter-synchless catfish. But I feel like keeping them in their own dedicated species tank would absolutely be the way to go. If you want to keep a group with them, you need at least 40 liters, which you might be asking, for a fish that's so small, why would you need such a big tank? And the reason is they absolutely love densely planted aquariums. In the wild, they come from river runoffs, so they have hugely densely matted areas of vegetation. Lots of things like Kavomba, Java moss, anything that's going to allow them to hide in spaces. What's so interesting about this species is they only live 1 to 3 years. So when you keep them in a group, you are actually trying to build a breeding project. And that is primarily what people keep this fish for, their breeding habits. Because they have such a short lifespan. In the wild, they only live about a year. In captivity, they can live 1 to 3. Some people have said that they've kept them for 5. But the idea to keep them is that you are going to have a self-sustaining ecosystem where you allow them to breed and create almost a lineage of pygmy sunfish. And now that might not sound too difficult to a lot of people, and it isn't. However, they are a true micro predator. They will not accept any sort of dry food. We've been feeding them exclusively on live copepods and frozen rotifers. I am setting up a brine shrimp breeding hatchery so that I can keep feeding them, because I am just absolutely obsessed with this fish. If you are going to keep this fish or are being swayed to keep them, which I absolutely would understand because they are mesmerizing, you will have to start to culture live food, or be prepared to come and see us here at Pond Life Aquatics on a regular basis to pick up live food. Or you can feed them on things like cyclops and rotifers, which I've been feeding them on today. And they really are just a rewarding little species. You have to look at their natural environment and try and replicate it and try and breed them to really get the best out of this species. They're going to need densely vegetated tanks. Definitely a sponge filter. Not only because the sponge filter is going to prevent their babies from being sucked into the tank, but it also allows a culture of bacteria and microorganisms to grow on the surface of the bubble filter, which is essential for their babies to survive. I am genuinely going to be shutting down my 60 liter at home to keep these guys. I have fallen head over heels in love with the Everglades pygmy sunfish. I think they are the best thing since sliced bread. And honestly, if you're not convinced by how much I've fallen in love with this fish in the past week, you have to come and see them. There is something about this weird, even the females, as dull as they are just so interesting. I don't think I've been this excited about keeping a specific species in a very long time. And I hope that other people can enjoy it as much as I do. They are just one of those species which I think if more and more people begin breeding them and keeping them in tiny little civilizations and biome tanks, they are one of those things that could really turn a hobbyist fish keeper into a fish fanatic. And they've really rekindled a part of me that I haven't been interested in a long time, which is setting up a biome specifically for a single species to try and breed them. I hope you've enjoyed this video. I'm sorry for not showing off the plants. We were meant to get a plant order in today. However, it seems like someone has stolen a box of plants off of us. If you enjoyed this video and you enjoyed the mini species spotlight on the pygmy sunfish, then do let me know, because I will love to do a series on breeding these guys. I am so smitten with them as a species. Write a comment below telling me to make a series, because I am chomping at the bit to do so. Next week, I will have a back to basics, I guess, on how to deal with extreme heat. This will be a Video split into two parts where I talk about aquariums and ponds and the crossover there in between. And I will also be filming the beginning of the mini-series of expanding our Betta range in Asia. If you're not subscribed to the channel, then please consider doing so. I would absolutely love it if you did, and I'd love for you to comment that you are new here and say hello. It's extremely late here at Pond Life Aquatics, so I apologize if I've been a little bit more sleepy or rambly than I usually have been. But for now, that's all from me here at Pond Life Aquatics and Tropical Fish London. I hope you'll join me again next time for this Pond Life.